friends, in this segment we're going to look at blending fibers using hand cards, and there's lots of videos out there on different ways to do this, some that are specifically catered to spinning, but in this case we're going to look at carding for the purpose of blending, especially in felt making, whether you're wet felting or needle felting. Sometimes you just need gradations that aren't available in the line that you're using, or you need more subtle gradations that are very close partners to each other. As an example, today we're going to work with our MC1 batting. If you've been felting with us for a while, this is great for wet felting or needle felting. Well, it comes in 75 at this point colors, or more than 75 colors. Sometimes you need this brown just a little bit darker, or maybe 2 steps darker in between this brown. Sometimes you need one a little more redder or a little more lighter. So we're going to look at how to do that. And then we're going to look at blending fibers that are longer and finer, such as merino top. So you might be needle felting a realistic animal in a portrait or in a sculpture, or you might be doing a wet felted garment or picture or anything, a handbag, and just want a little bit more variation in the color. And we'll look at what's different about carding something like our batting, which is a short fiber and processed in a batting, than doing a merino top. So let's look at that. There's a variety of hand cards on the market, ones that have been around a long time and people who are just starting to make them. This is an example. This is an ancient pair that I've had as long as I've been felting, so they're pretty old, and they are flat. So you'll notice that there's no curvature to them, but they have little beds of teeth that are hooked and will grab onto the fiber. And they're they're really stapled actually to these boards, usually on either a rubber backing, or the much older ones are on a leather backing. And what you'll notice is that when you buy these, they are created specifically for different types of fiber. Some, for example, are for cotton, and some are for wool, and some are finer and some are more coarse. So there's a certain number of teeth per the beds. So this is a personal pair that I've had a long time. They are the flat version. And then these are the hand cards that we have in the shop. They are by Ashford. They are curved. And these are called their student cards. They are for wool. And what you'll notice is there's kind of a gentle rocking motion as you use them and pull the fiber off. So let's look at how they work. When you hold the hand cards, your dominant hand is going to hold over, and your other hand will hold under. Some people rest on their leg, and some people will felt in the air. But this is the general motion that you're going to use for combing and blending the fibers, and then we're going to transfer between paddles. So let's look at our MC1. I'll show you a quick example. This is a little palette of fibers. Some of them are from our line exactly, like the black, charcoal, winter, aspen, white. Even here the caramel. But, oh, this is caramel. The example is that this caramel I've carded to make it lighter 3 more steps using the hand cards. You can also use a drum carder, and we'll look at that separately. And then here with caramel, I've gone darker. The same thing with espresso, going espresso, taking espresso darker, or taking even our dark chocolate darker. So sometimes you just need little steps, and you can blend 2 colors from our line or someone else's line to get that. So today we're going to blend caramel and cotton white. And I like to suggest a couple of things. One, that when you first start using hand cards, you wear clothing that's a little more durable. If you're wearing knit items or delicates, there's a potential that just as your hands are getting used to the motion, that the comb will catch what you're wearing, and you don't want to to snag it. So these are very pointy and grippy, so just maybe wear jeans or cargo type pants at first, just something that won't rip. And when you're first blending colors, what you might look at is a 50-50. So start 50-50 and see where that goes, how that gets to the color that you want. And then you can add a little darker or add a little even more lighter to that. So when we first start, we're going to put the fiber on the bed. And we're actually only going to put the fiber about down this bar. If you go all the way up, you tend to form a little ridge in your fiber as it's laying on the bed. So we're going to blend in 2 steps. So here down, and then I'm going to put the color I'm blending in right on top. So if you've worked with our batting, you know it's kind of thick and lofty. To start, don't use too much fiber, so I'm going to split this in half and just lay it on the bed and then pull it off. And try not to go too far out to the edges. Don't go all the way out to the edge of the bed. And then the next color, I'm just going to put right on top. Do this hand under, this hand over. At first, we're just going to grip the fibers lightly. And don't worry as it comes off. We're going to do this back and forth a few times. So here's how it goes. Notice there's just a little bit left on this paddle. You can transfer it over and it's pretty much clean. And then you can switch hands. You'll see that some people never switch hands. They always transfer the fiber, or even they continue to use this hand and transfer it back to the other. Find what works for you. If you have stuff coming off the edge here, just corral it back over. And notice that you don't really hear the teeth grinding together at first, and then they get closer together. A gentle rocking motion, and we're kind of peeling it all off this paddle. To clean it, so notice that the handles are opposite as we're carding, and then to clean this paddle, the handles go together. We drive the teeth down. I don't go all the way to the top, I'm starting right about here. Drive the teeth down and drag it. You can think of pulling this paddle up at the same time as you're pushing that one down. So that gets all the fiber off of this paddle, or card. I tend to call them paddles. Again. Almost all off, getting more blended. Notice there's sort of a flicking motion when you come back up, because you don't want these fibers to fold underneath. You want them always to be up when you drag your paddle down. You don't want them to be folded under. So you sort of flick your hand up. Almost clean. Now, our fibers are getting really nicely blended for the color, but you can also restack them. There's nothing wrong with doing that so that you sort of make the palette or the mat a little more narrow, and you blend these fibers together even more. So let's look at how to transfer the fibers. The same way you've been cleaning, we'll take these fibers now and drag them over to this paddle, and now they're laying on this one. So sometimes you want this little bit of variegation. Perhaps you're doing a pet portrait or a pet sculpture, or I don't know, even a tree, something where you want it to be a little more non-blended. But if you want it very well blended, restack it. And notice two different, if you can see this far away, that this is the little more blunt end that just came off the top, and this end is a little more wispy. For whatever reason, I just kind of turn that around this time so that the wispy end is on top. You can stack them together and then card these, and notice how much more blended they'll be. Now notice, remember, as we're carding, you don't hear the teeth grinding together. We're not dragging one through the other in an aggressive fashion. Okay, so here's our little blend. We could keep going. It's not difficult, it's very easy, and really it's fun. If you're doing a big picture or a big piece, whatever you're working on, these can be really helpful for blending more consistently, having your color palette more prepared, more consistently in advance. I like to blend with my fingers when I'm doing something small, but sometimes you just want consistency across and you don't want to keep running out of your color. So that's what makes hand cards really great. In this segment, we're going to be hand carding merino top. This is very fine merino top, and it's a little bit different than working with the batting. This is just an example I wanted to show you, if you can see this up close. This is a solid color of merino top, and these are two samples that I've carded. This one was carded on a drum carder and run through a few times, so you can still see the striations in it a little bit, and it can continue to be run through the drum carder. But this was made more for needle felting, and this was made on the hand cards. So when you see videos of fiber being carded for hand spinning, very often they roll this up into little rolags. In this case, you kind of want to keep a little mat like this, or your own little mini bat, so that your fibers are usable how you need them. So this one is a little more blended, but you can see what a nice variation that is of blending this with white, and it was about a 50-50 blend if you're trying to make a picture or a sculpture and you need a little bit lighter shade or you need some highlights. So I'm going to blend a white and a blue, maybe as if you're doing a sky or a flower, so that it shows up a little bit more hopefully on the video. Now, to do a 50-50 blend, just think about grabbing about the same length of fiber between the two. And I think most of you probably already know, but if you're new to working with merino top, if you go to or any kind of roving or sliver or top, if you go to separate it and it won't pull apart, just back your hands up a little bit so that it breaks off easily. If you pull too tight, you could break the staple length, you could tear the staple length. So that's what makes it difficult to tear apart. We're going to just fan this out, and I'm going to blend two small equal amounts of these fibers. So same as we did last time, I'll start with the solid color. This is just my way, the solid color on the bottom. Now you'll notice that these fibers are a lot longer, so they tend to want to go above the top more easily. Try and keep them below. 2/3 is good measure. This is aqua blue, just for reference, and our lily white, which is bright, bright white. And then Now, if you were making a fairy dress or something, or a flower, or even a sky, these would be lovely, lovely wisps. Or you can keep blending them and get them even more combined so that you just have a lighter shade of blue. Let's do that with half. There you go. I hope you have fun. If you get yourself a pair of hand cards, wherever you get them and whatever you try, just experiment. Take your time. Start with 50-50 blends if you like. Experiment with some different fibers and see how they go. Yes, you can also use this for fleece in the lock, but today I just wanted to show you how to blend fibers for getting color gradations. It's super simple, it's really fun, and I hope you have a great time with whatever you do. Make it a great day, and as always, happy felting. there you go. I hope you have fun. If you get yourself a pair of hand cards, wherever you get them and whatever you try, just experiment. Take your time. Start with 50-50 blends if you like. Experiment with some different fibers and see how they go. Yes, you can also use this for fleece in the lock, but today I just wanted to show you how to blend fibers for getting color gradations. It's super simple, it's really fun, and I hope you have a great time with whatever you do. Make it a great day, and as always, happy felting.